Hey guys, what's up? It's Kyle here. I want to talk about something real quick here. It's on MMA. You guys know I'm an MMA fan, even though I mostly post wrestling videos and game stuff from video games because that's what most of you guys like. I had to report on this here, talk about it because, like I said, I am an MMA fan. Been one for 7 years now. But anyway, you guys know Bellator MMA. They were going to have this big pay-per-view, their first pay-per-view, in 6 days, as a matter of fact, November 2nd. And the headlining main event was Rampage Jackson against Tito Ortiz, who was coming out of retirement. Everybody and their mama was, Bellator fans, hell, even fans of UFC, MMA enthusiasts all together, just, turn their nose at this and just like, no, this is just Ortiz, Rampage, maybe 10 years ago, sure, but 2013 in their condition, main event, no. And it was just reported yesterday, as a matter of fact, Friday, that Tito Ortiz has fractured his neck. So because of him fracturing his neck, the main event has been canceled for Bellator's first pay-per-view. And on top of that, Bellator's president decided to instead, since the main event has been canceled, to put the pay-per-view on free TV. Free TV. So the pay-per-view is not going to be on free TV, and the main event, obviously, is going to be Eddie Alvarez versus Michael Chandler rematch, round 2, for the light heavyweight title, in which that at first was the co-main event. And to me, I think this is a blessing in disguise more than anything. I mean, I hope Tito Ortiz is okay. I hope he's fine. I hope he does well and recovers from his fractured neck. But to me, this was just a sign from the very beginning that Ortiz and Rampage Jackson should not be fighting in MMA. And on top of that, yet alone main eventing Bellator's pay-per-view, their first pay-per-view. On top of that, they shouldn't even main event any pay-per-view, period. Both of those guys in their condition. This was just a bad idea from day one when they announced this. I mean, this is one of those type of things where Bellator was just throwing crap on the wall and they were trying to see what sticks. And this doesn't stick at all whatsoever. And I think it's kind of sad in one aspect that the pay-per-view is they're going to put on free TV, because I think, Bellator, they have some young, good fighters, Pat Curran, Michael Chandler, Eddie Alvarez, King Mo can still go, obviously. Emmanuel Newton, who's also, his rematch against King Mo was also scheduled to be on the pay-per-view. These are all good young fighters. And I think that those guys are still worth paying to see if you put them on the pay-per-view. Chandler and Eddie Alvarez should have been the main event right off the bat when they first announced this darn freaking pay-per-view. If Bellator wanted to bring in UFC fan base or the casual MMA fan by having Tito and Rampage on their pay-per-view, they could have been like in the middle of the card of the pay-per-view or maybe even co-main event. But you don't take Tito Ortiz, a guy who comes out of freaking retire. He was retired, okay? And if you look at Tito Ortiz's track record, he lost 9 out of his last 10 fights. He lost 9 of them. Then you look at Rampage Jackson. Rampage Jackson, since his loss, he lost his last 3 fights, and his last loss against John Jones really took it out of him. And he basically kind of openly admitted and said, hey, I don't have it in me anymore to compete with, the finest athletes of today. And on Spike TV, after every episode of Impact, they've been showing this little hour documentary of Rampage Jackson getting ready and prepared as he's preparing for his fight against Tito Ortiz. And Rampage Jackson doesn't really look like he doesn't really care that much. And I mean, he's got terrible knees. His knees are blown and shot. Since Jackson did the damage to him. Ortiz is got a messed up back and everything else. I mean, he's banged up. So I mean, it's like, you don't take two guys where one, they're over the hill, they're banged up, they really don't have any more gas left in the tank, and their track record of their last fights have all been losses. You don't take guys like that and put them in the main event. No. If you want to use them, their star power, and you want to throw them in the cage or something, you don't make them the main event. Hell, don't even make them the co-main event. Make them like the semi-main event or something. Put them in the middle of the card. But you don't put them at the main event and have them go 5 rounds. Really? Really? No. That just shows the stupidity and bad management of Bellator MMA. And the president goes and says, Rampage versus Tito was a fight I've wanted to see for years. And it looks like after, since Ortiz fractured his neck, we're going to have to wait a little bit longer to see this dream match. This is your dream match. This maybe 10 years ago it might have been everyone else's dream match, but not currently now. They're not even the top 10. They're not even the top 20 best fighters in the world today. They're over their prime. Not to say they might not be able to throw a good punch and beat the hell out of somebody. I wouldn't want to, be in the back alley with Rampage Jackson. But I mean, professionally fight in the MMA career, they don't have it in them anymore. Like I said, I mean, they're going to give away the rest of the pay-per-view on free TV. It's no skin off my back because, hey, I don't have to pay money. I'll get to watch it for free. It'll be a pay-per-view quality event on TV for free, on free TV. So it's no skin off my back. However, though, it's kind of a shame that, they have to cancel the entire pay-per-view because of these old geezers that they tried to promote and make them the main event when Alvarez and Chandler should have been the main event in the first place, and they should have built the pay-per-view around these two guys in the first place. It's it's a shame. I mean, how do you expect people to get into your product if you don't build your own superstars? Not to say, hey, if you want to take in some former UFC guys and bring them in, if they can still work, that is, and you want to use them to, bring some recognition to your brand, fine. But don't bury your own talent because, hey, these guys are the bigger stars. Now, you bring them in to bring in the fans, but you say, hey, you know what? Yes, we have a Tito Ortiz. Yes, we have a King Mo. Yes, we have a Rampage Jackson. But guess what? We got some homegrown talent here. That's beast. We got Pat Curran. We got Ben Askren. We've got Eddie Alvarez. We got Michael Chandler. We've got Emmanuel Newton. We've got Rhino. I mean, just build your stars around the guys that the bigger stars that you may want to bring in from UFC or whatever. But don't put the has-beens over on your own homegrown talent because you're making your own homegrown talent look like second class, in which Bellator is second class in comparison to UFC. They're bush leagues, really. But you don't give off that you don't make others perceive that of your product. You know what I mean? It's just so I just had to get this out when I read it today online, or tonight actually when I read the news online. I mean they could have just thrown another match. They could have kept you charged for the pay-per-view, but instead have Alvarez and Chandler as the main event. And then they could have just thrown another fight on the freaking pay-per-view. But anyway, you guys let me know what you think in the box below. Comment, subscribe if you watch, you like MMA, like the sport. Peace.